Whoa! Oh shit! What the fuck just happened? It took out the power pole. Oh my goodness.
Welcome back to Trucking the Seven Seas. This is episode number 108, and in this episode, we're going to cover week 36 and 37 of running my own authority. In this episode, we have two pretty good weeks, mostly due to low fixed costs. If you're new to this channel, welcome. I started this channel in order to show exactly what truck drivers make. We started as a company driver, working for night transportation, moved on to a lease operator, working for night transportation, then an owner operator, leased on to Landstar, and now we are an owner operator running our own authority. I show all of the loads I take, what the revenue is, what the expenses are, and what my net cash flow is, and I compile all this information that I put into a spreadsheet that I share with you at the end of every video. So if this is a topic that interests you, follow the channel. But a quick announcement before we begin, I did get access to Amazon Relay, so I upgraded my insurance and then applied to Amazon Relay, and then applied a couple weeks ago, and took them about a week to get me approved, and then this morning I had to do a background check on me personally because I'm the company owner and the driver, so I had to get a background check on the driver, who's also me, and that background check took about another 7 days or so. So it took me about 2 weeks, but I'm finally good to haul for Amazon Relay, and I'm probably going to do that maybe not next week, but the week after, and sometime during the holidays, basically. So just a quick announcement there. I did get access to Amazon Relay, and we're going to start hauling those for them sometime in December. But last episode, we left off in Commerce, California. So we dropped a load in Commerce, California. It was a Thursday when I dropped it, and I decided to go ahead and try to find a decently long load to carry me through the weekend. And I was looking around and realized that Texas was probably a pretty good shot there. It's about 1,200 miles, 1,500 miles, depending on where you're going. So that's what I was looking for. So I was looking to load going to Texas, and I ended up finding this load right here. So I'll go ahead and cover Landstar right there. So this one is going from San Bernardino, California to Dallas, Texas. 1,300 loaded miles, 66 empty miles, paid $3,150 at $227 per mile. Yeah, so I thought this load worked out perfectly. Picked it up Thursday, ran it a little bit Thursday, ran it Friday, basically had it there Saturday, reset Sunday, and then dropped it Monday. So that was just about perfect. And I mean, as far as the pay goes, $227 per mile, 1,300 mile load coming out of LA to Dallas. It is what it is. Not great, not bad. Pretty much what the market is paying right now. So that's what we ended up booking, and that's what we ended up getting. So right now we're headed to Dallas, Texas. Let's go.
Whoa! Oh shit! What the fuck just happened? It took out the power pole. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so on the way there, I was outside somewhere around Odessa or something like that, like West Texas, and then that video that you just saw happened. And I'll play it again. I'll just kind of do an overlay real quick. So I looked at the video again, and it looked like this guy blew a tire. So if you look, you can kind of see that his back wheel is just sort of losing control. So it was a dually GMC or Sierra. It was like a dually GMC or something like that. And it looked like his back dually tires on his passenger side blew, which caused him to cock and just caused him to lose control. And right about there, you could see that he hits that power pole right there. Doesn't head on it or anything like that. I think he was fine, by the way, so that's why I'm fine showing this. I don't think there were any issues. So he hits that thing, and then I look in my rearview mirror, and I just watch as a telephone pole just starts falling right over, and that telephone pole right there ended up falling across the freeway in my lane. So I missed it by about 8 seconds or something like that. So that was pretty crazy. And then You also can't see it because it's in the rear view, but when the power pole falls over, the semi behind me directly runs it over. So yeah, I don't think anybody was hurt here. I mean, that guy probably just got probably a little roughed up, but I think he was fine. But yeah, that happened on the way there. Um, it happened, and I'm pretty sure that road was closed for a while there. Again, I don't think anybody was hurt. I think it just the road got closed. So that happened. Yeah, so it looks like the guy, he blew one of his back dually tires, and then hit that pole and knocked the pole over, and then the pole in the rearview mirror, you can't see it, but it fell into the roadway, and then it yeah, it fell into the roadway, and then the semi ran it over, and that road was probably closed for a good bit. So that's what happened there. But yeah, crazy stuff you see on the road. So there's another example of that. All right, so moving on. Again, I don't think anybody was hurt in that video, so that's why I'm fine kind of showing it there. Later that day, basically got it to Dallas, Texas, and then we were in Dallas, Texas, dropped it Monday morning, and then looked for another load Monday morning. And this is, I did stream this, so if you guys watched the stream, my last stream, you saw this, me planning this out. So I was looking around in Dallas, and then Dallas just wasn't good. So I kind of was thinking that there was a lot of overcapacity in Texas generally, in Dallas. So I got to Dallas, and I couldn't find a whole lot. So I was looking around, and was trying to get back west, but I couldn't find a whole lot. So I decided that instead of grabbing a crappy load to back west or something like that, Wisconsin is still very, 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 very good right now. So I was looking around, and I ended up finding this load right here. This one's going from McKinney, Texas to Weston, Wisconsin. It's 1,090 loaded miles, 32 empty miles. Paid $1,700 at $1.56 per mile, which isn't good. However, Wisconsin was still really hot right when I booked this. So I booked this load going to Wisconsin, figuring that I would get out of Wisconsin for an excellent rate. So that's why I went ahead and did that. I couldn't find too much out of Dallas. There's just overcapacity there. So I decided just to go ahead and grab this one and go to Wisconsin for a really trash rate. And the planning was to try to get out of Wisconsin for a really good rate. And then hopefully that worked out. So that's what I ended up doing. Grabbed this load, and now we're headed to Weston, Wisconsin. Let's go. All right, so I dropped the load out in Weston, Wisconsin, then looked for another one. Dropped it Wednesday, and I am looking to get back west. I want to be on the West Coast for the holidays. That's where all my family members are. So I was looking to get back west, and again, I thought I could get out of Wisconsin for a decent rate. So I was looking around and trying to get back west, and I ended up finding this load right here. So this one's going from Black River Falls, Wisconsin to Portland, Oregon. 1,800 loaded miles, 106 empty miles, $4,200 at $225 per mile. Yeah, so $225 per mile for an 1,800 mile load is good. I think that's good. And this is what I thought I would find in Wisconsin, so I was largely correct. Went to Wisconsin for a cheap rate, but then I got out for a pretty decent rate, again, given market conditions here. So I thought this one was fine. And also, Oregon is also really hot right now. It's been hot for like the last couple of weeks, couple of months even, really. And it seems to be just staying that way. So this one was totally fine. I booked this one, 1,800 mile load to go to Oregon. And Oregon, again, it's just really good recently. So I was fine with this. And yeah, this is what we ended up booking. So let's go ahead and go to Portland, Oregon now. All right, so we dropped that load out in Portland, Oregon, and just like I thought, it was really good out there. I think the load to truck ratio, when I looked on the DAT website, was almost 10 to 1. So there were 10 loads for every truck, which is crazy good. So I waited around and trying to get back south at this point, maybe to Las Vegas or Los Angeles, Phoenix, Tucson, something like that, just so I would be closer to family during the holidays. So that's what I was looking for. And looking around and ended up finding this load right here. So this is actually the exact same load that I booked out of Portland or Oregon, that I booked out of the Oregon area last time. So this one's going from Junction City, Oregon to Henderson, Nevada. 895 loaded miles, 101 empty miles, paid $2,000 at $223 per mile. Yeah, so this is the exact same load as last time, if you remember, for the exact same price. And I was kind of hoping that when I got to Oregon, this load would show up, and it did. So when I called the number up, I think the broker probably saw what I booked it for last time. It was another TQL load. So I was looking at it, and he probably saw that I booked it for $2K last time, and I was fine hauling it again for $2,000. I think it's all right. If you count the deadhead, it's basically $2 per mile to get out of Oregon and get to Las Vegas. And yeah, I was fine with that. Now the market did get a little bit better since I was last here, so maybe I could have eked out another $100 or something like that. But I was relatively okay with it either way. So this one's totally fine. $2,000, basically $2 per mile, including deadhead, to go to Las Vegas, Nevada, which is fine, and that's where I want to be anyway. So that's what we ended up booking, and now we are once again headed to Henderson, Nevada. Let's go. Okay, so we dropped that load out in Henderson, Nevada, and then looked for another one and trying to run probably to Los Angeles at this point. So just try to get to Los Angeles and then find a load from Los Angeles and go from there. So I was looking around, and this load has been available, so I just put it right here. I've hauled this load quite a few times already. This one is kind of regularly available in Las Vegas, I've realized. So it goes from North Las Vegas, Nevada to Commerce, California, 272 loaded miles, 16 empty miles, paid $400 at $1.47 per mile. Yeah, so if you've been watching this channel for the past couple of weeks, you've probably seen this exact load, I think 3 or 4 times at this point. This is a nice, somewhat nice. It gets me back to Los Angeles, right? So it's just a filler load to get me to Los Angeles. If I have the time for this load, I usually take it. I could deadhead straight to Los Angeles, and I think that's also fine. But because I'm normally available to take this load, it's first come, first serve on pickup, first come, first serve on drop. And I'm just sort of happy grabbing it, especially like if I drop the load in Las Vegas at like, if I drop that load in Henderson and it's like, I don't know, 10 or 11 o'clock, right? I have time to grab this one, drive down to LA, drop it in the morning, and then be ready in the morning in LA for a much better load. So it just works out nicely with my time. Now, obviously it doesn't pay good, but you're not going to get, nothing's going to pay good going to LA. That's just kind of the way it is. So I think this one was fine. And again, this is the same load. I think I've taken it 4 times at this point, and it's a good filler load for me. So I'm going to keep doing it. So that's what we end up booking. So now we're headed to Commerce, California. Let's go. Okay, so we dropped that load out in Commerce, California, and then it's looking for a weekend load. And I was looking around, and I ended up booking a load out to Colorado for almost $4 per mile. Yeah, so that's what I ended up booking, and I think that's fine. Well, it's more than fine because I am going to have to deadhead out of there, which I'll explain in the next video. But because that Colorado load is a pretty long load, it is not going to make the paycheck. So we're going to go ahead and get into the spreadsheet right now. All right, so in this episode, we're going to cover week 37 and 38. Let's do it. For week 37, we did 2 loads. In those 2 loads, we got 2,576 miles, paid a total of $4,850 at $1.88 per mile. Fuel expense, fueled up 4 times. In those 4 times, we paid $1,154 at 45 cents per mile, and there were no maintenance expenses. Other expenses, scales 39 for 2 cents per mile. Fixed costs, APU payment came in for $418. Omnitrax payment came in for $37, for a total of $455 at 18 cents per mile. All right, totals for week 33. Total expenses were $1,649 at 64 cents per mile. Total revenue was $4,850 at $1.88 per mile. That brought a net settlement to $3,200 at $1.24 per mile. All right, caveats for week 37. There aren't too many. I mean, as explained, I grabbed a crappy load to Wisconsin for $1.56, thinking that I could get out of there for a decent rate. And then I booked a load out of Los Angeles to Dallas for $2.27. Pretty standard sort of running here. 1 good paying load, 1 bad paying load for $1.88 per mile, which is about market rate right now. So there's that. That's about it, really. I mean, pretty standard week. Fuel expenses were pretty standard. Other expenses were low. Fixed costs were fairly low. Not too much came in. And that was really about it. I mean, I think fixed costs were a little bit low, and then other expenses were a little bit low, which led me to have kind of low expenses, decent revenue, and overall a pretty good week. $3,200, $1.24 per mile. Not much to say on that one. So that's about it. Let's go ahead and move on to week 38. For week 38, we did 3 loads. In those 3 loads, we got 3,260 miles. Paid a total of $6,600 at $2.02 per mile. Fuel expense, fueled up 4 times. In those 4 times, we paid $1,402 at 43 cents per mile, and there were no maintenance expenses. Other expenses, scales 14, Oregon trip permit for $210, tools for $15 for a total of $240 at 7 cents per mile. Fixed costs, our trailer payment came in for $687 at 21 cents per mile. Alright, totals for week 38. Total expenses are $2,330 at 71 cents per mile. Total revenue was $6,600 at $2.02 per mile. That brought our net settlement to $4,200 at $1.31 per mile. Alright, caveats for week 38. Again, not much. 3 loads, fairly longish. Got me 3,200 miles at $6,600. Again, coming out of Wisconsin, I mean, there's a reason why I booked that Dallas to Wisconsin load at such a bad rate. It's because I figured I would get something like this on the way out, which I most certainly did. $225 per mile for an 1,800 mile load. That's good. I mean, you're not going to convince me that's a bad load, because that is not a bad load. And then even with that long load paying decently well, Oregon was doing well enough that, it wasn't like I was booking a load to a bad area. So I ended up getting out of Oregon for, if you include Deadhead, it's about $2 per mile to get out of there for about a 1,000 mile load. So, that's, given the market conditions, that's good. So these loads were decent. I would say even okay. I thought they were pretty good, actually. So, that led me to pretty good revenue at a pretty good rate per mile. And then everything else, again, pretty standard. Fuel costs 43 cents per mile. That's about what I've been paying, so there's that. No maintenance expenses, so that was good. Couple small things. I had to get an Oregon trip permit again because I haven't coughed up the $2,000. Small stuff like that. Trailer payment came in $687, so there's that. But yeah, I mean, this is pretty typical right here. Pretty typical week. No maintenance expenses. That led me to another pretty good week. I mean, $4,000 for a single week. That ain't bad. So $1.31 per mile, and I can't complain too much about that week. So that is week 38. Now let's go ahead and move on to the overalls. All right, total since starting my own authority, we have driven a total of 90,665 miles. Total expenses has been $97,000 at $1.07 per mile, and that is my cost per mile. Total revenue has been $169,000 at $1.87 per mile. That brings our total profit loss to $72,000 at 80 cents per mile, and all of these loads are dry van. Averages and other information. Average weekly paycheck is $1,883. Average weekly miles is 2,368 miles. Total fuel cost has been $38,000 at 42 cents per week, and we pay an average of $3.36 per gallon. Total maintenance cost has been $21,000 at 24 cents per mile. Total revenue has been $169,000 at $4,400 per week. Total deadhead has been 7,700 miles at 8% of total mileage. We've been employed 268 days or 38 weeks, taking 19 days off, 287 days on duty, 106 total loads. Average load length is 855 miles. And if we had a theoretical $500 per week truck payment, we would have made $52,000 at 58 cents per mile. Okay, so how are we looking? Well, we're looking better than last week. Had a couple really good weeks in a row here. $4,000 and then $3,000 for the past couple of weeks. That bumped us up to 80 cents per mile, which still not good. Not bragging about this, but that's where we're at. That's currently where we're at. The peak season is coming, so December is peak season, so I should be able to juice these numbers a little bit. But at this point, if I can get up to 90 cents per mile over the course of the next couple months, then that's kind of a win. I started driving in March. Basically, I think March 2nd was when I took the first load. So I'll probably run this whole spreadsheet here for one for 12 months exactly, and then see where we're at, just to see what an exact 12-month timeline looks like. But we are going to approach peak season in December, but then unfortunately things crash in January and February. So we'll see how things go. Yeah, we'll see how things go. 80 cents per mile, not good. Yeah. And I should mention next week I do get some work done on the trailer, and it's a little bit expensive. Nothing broke. This was just some PM stuff that I did. I'll tell you, I did replace the brake drums on the trailer, which is not cheap. They were looking pretty bad, and then had a couple smaller things done to it. But yeah, basically did some work on the trailer the following week. Week 39 is what I'm trying to say, and it's a little bit expensive, so I'll let you live in suspense on that one. But I do get some work done on the trailer. It does set me back. And then it is Thanksgiving, so I'm going to take quite a few days off for Thanksgiving and then hit the road again. So we'll see how it goes. 80 cents per mile, that's what we're looking at. Now, I think the market, I feel like the market has been getting a little bit better the past few weeks. Maybe that's just my experience. The data is indicating something else. The data is indicating that the market is actually getting worse. But my experience has been the opposite. My experience over the last few weeks has been the market has been improving. I don't know which is true. Maybe I've just been getting lucky over the past few weeks. I'm not sure, but that's been my experience. Now, why is that occurring? Well, it's occurring either A, because of seasonality. I've been booking better loads because the market is getting seasonally better, as I already mentioned, or the actions of the DOT are starting to kick out some capacity. I'm not sure which one it is. But I think pretty clearly the last few weeks have been pretty good, and the loads I've been booking have been quite decent, and I think that's because the market is improving. But it's weird because the data that I'm looking at on DAT and any other data you're looking at right now would indicate that the market is actually getting worse, but that has not been my experience. Yeah, so I don't know. That's what's happening there. 80 cents per mile. I don't know. Hopefully I can get that up to maybe 90 cents per mile by the end of the year. And then hopefully in 2026, the market truly does start getting better. Basically, the capacity starts leaving. Basically, it starts kicking out some of the foreign drivers, and that will help out a ton. But we'll see. But that's where we're at. Yeah, that's pretty much where we're at. Maintenance costs have come down, but I could tell you they're going to jump right back up next week because I do I do replace the brake drums and get some work done on the trailer. So that's that. But yeah. There's week 37, 38. Taking a couple days off for Thanksgiving. Then going to hit the road. And then we'll see how December treats me. Should be pretty decent, I'm hoping. We'll start working on Amazon Relay. Now, in order to get access to more of their features and more of their loads, I have to haul quite a few trash loads, basically. You have to haul like 10 loads, from what I gathered on their website there, before you get access to all of their loads. So I will try to fit some of that in from time to time. I'm not going to bend over backwards to get those 10 loads in during December, unless it's convenient for me, right? So I am going to try to get those loads in so that way I get access to all of their loads, because you have to build up like a credit score with Amazon. And then once you get a credit score with Amazon, you can get access to some of their contracts. Right now, I don't have access to their contracts because I got to get 10 loads in and I got to build a score. But given that it's going to be December, I will only pretty much haul those Amazon loads if it's convenient for me, because I think I'm going to be fine in the spot market during December. Maybe I would be a little bit better with Amazon. I'm not sure. I'll keep an eye on things and kind of play it by ear. But I'm going to slowly work on this, getting access to Amazon contracts in December. But I'm pretty much going to do it at my convenience. So that's coming. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, but with all that said, if you were interested in this spreadsheet or any of the other spreadsheets I've done in the past, they are available in the About section down below. After you find them, just click File, Download them to a Microsoft Excel sheet, and then you're free to use them however you please. If you need a factoring company or a fuel card, I would recommend OTR Solutions. I currently use them for both factoring and fueling, so I'm not just sending you some crap that I don't actually use myself. I am actually using both their fuel card and their factoring service, and they're fantastic. So there is a link in the About section down below. If you do get your own authority and you do want to use them, please use that link. It does help me out a ton. And if you want to donate to me directly, there is a Buy Me a Coffee in the About section down below. That helps out a ton. YouTube does take like 30 or 40% of the YouTube Super Chats. So if you wanted to donate more directly, you can use the Buy Me a Coffee link, and they only take like 3%, so that's helpful as well. But that will pretty much do it for this episode. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.